Is it audible to you, ma? Can you see the screen? Let me check the participants once. All of you should register with your domain mail IDs only, and you should log in with your domain mail IDs only. I should see your roll numbers and participants list. Nothing else, only the roll numbers you should see. So otherwise, you may not get the attendance, ma. So please try to log in with your roll numbers. Here I am having Kapu Siva. Who is that, ma? Siva? Here Shiva. Who is that? Please rename, ma.
Okay, ma'am.
Just you click on more and go for rename. And whenever you log in, just you log in with your domain mail IDs, ma, please. And the remaining Sai Shrujan, Shyam Kumar, Srinidhi. Here's Srinidhi. Unmute yourself and talk, ma. Srinidhi. Just you rename, ma, with your roll number.
Yes, ma'am, I'll rename.
Have you registered with your domain mail ID, ma?
Yes, ma'am, domain mail ID.
Then I should get your roll numbers only here, no?
I'm changing it, ma'am.
So if you are providing your names, then you won't get the attendance, ma. Please remember.
Okay, ma'am.
Amshi Krishna. Sai Shrujan, rename, ma. Sai Shrujan.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, Sai Srijan, present.
Okay. Just I'm asking you to rename, ma, here. In the participants list, you click on more. Just you click on rename. There you give your complete roll number, like a 21951A, the entire number you give, right? As a username. Sharan Reddy.
Ma'am.
Just you give your roll number, my complete roll number. Click on more options. Just you click on participants, then go for your name. Just click on more. There you go for rename option, and you give your complete roll number 21951A. After that 12 your number, right? Otherwise you may not get the attendance. Please remember these instructions, ma. Not only for today, for the entire online sessions, you need to follow this. So we completed a selection or a decision making statements, right, ma? So why we use this selection or condition control statements? Just those who want to answer can unmute your mic and tell me the answer. After that, again mute your mics. Why we use this selection or decision making statements? Can you tell me? Is it audible to you? Rule number 62. Are you there? Shall I put absent? Nobody is responding. So we discussed the selection or decision making statements up to now. So selection or decision making statements can be used. Mute your mics now, right now. Selection or decision making statements can be used to make a decision based on the given condition. Python supports different decision making or selection statements. Those are simple if statement, if else statement, nested if, and if else statements. Okay, we discussed about the simple if statement. So here in the simple if statement, we can handle only one case, either true case or false case. You can see the flowchart for that. So here we can provide the condition. If the given condition is true, it executes a block of code, which we can call as if block statements. Just I'm revising, already we discussed these things in the class. In the previous classes, we discussed all this, right? So let me revise for 5 to 10 minutes. After that, I start today's class, right? Right here, condition we need to specify. If the condition is true, it executes the statements whatever are there inside of the if, which is called as if block statement. After execution of this if block statements, it goes for the end. So whatever the next statement is there after the block, that will be executed. If there are no statements, it terminates the program. See, if the given condition is false, directly it goes for the ending of the program or termination of the program if there is no statement X. So here, if you observe, we are handling only true or false cases, but we are not at all handling both the cases. That's why we are moving for the next statement, that is if else statement. So on the simple if statement, we solve some of the examples. Here, if you observe, here I want to find whether the given number is even number or not. So this is the syntax for the if expression and statement. If here is the condition. So here expression means that is nothing but the condition. If condition, if number percentile 2 is equal to 0. Already we know the logic for finding whether the given number is even number or not. So NUM stores the number whatever you are accepting from the keyboard, and here number percentile 2 is a logic for finding whether it is even or odd. So you are dividing the number with 2 if the remainder is equal to 0. That is only the logic we know, right? So if we divide the given number with 2, if we got the remainder as 0, then we can say it as a even number, else it is odd. So here if number percentile 2 is equal to 0, then you are saying it as even number is even. Else you are not handling. That means you are handling only the true case. This expression is evaluated to true. For example, here in the output, the number is given as 10. Okay, check for the logic. If 10 percentile 2 is equal to 0, 10 percentile 2 is equal to 0 means what? Just you are dividing the number 10 with 2. So if you divide the 10 with 2, what you'll get? The remainder is 0 only, right? So percent represent always the remainder value. So here after the division operation, if the remainder is 0, you are saying it as a even number. Else, for example, if I provide you the number 7, then go for this. If 7 percentile 2 is equal to 0, the remainder is 1, it is not equal to 0. That means this condition is evaluated to false. If this condition is evaluated to false, then it doesn't enter into the if block. Directly control comes out of this one. And here there are no more statements to execute. So automatically program terminates. Nothing you can see as output, only the empty screen. Yes, ma'am, mute your mics. Okay, these are the examples we discussed already. And if else statement, in the if else statement, we can handle both the true and as well as false cases. So here we can write the conditions. Yes. Mute your mics, all of you. Here I can say, I can see whose mic is that. Shall I tell that? Roll number C3, mute your mic. Next we discussed about if else statement. Here, if the given condition is true, it executes one set of statements. If the given condition is evaluated to false, it goes for the else block. Whatever is there, that this will be executed. Already we discussed this part also. The elif statement. Elif statement can be used for specifying multiple conditions like this. If expression 1 means condition 1. If this condition 1 is true, it executes this block of statements. If it is false, it executes the condition 2. It checks for the condition 2. If it is true, it executes the block 2 statements. So like that, we can include multiple conditions. Okay, the best example for this is obtaining the results of a student based on the percentage of marks. If the percentage of marks is between 40 to 50, then 40 to 49, I can say is just pass for third class. So if the percentage of marks are between this 50 to 59, then I can say it is like pass. That means based on this average of marks, you can decide the grade of the student. So in that kind of situation, so we can use multiple expressions or multiple conditions. So here we can provide the condition or expression is nothing but percentage of marks in the given example. Right, like this, if the particular condition is true, it executes that associated set of statements. If the condition is false, then only it check for the next condition. So once a condition, this condition is true means it executes this block of statements and it doesn't check for the remainder. Please observe that. If all the given conditions are failed, then only it go for the else block. Already we discussed this portion also in the class. And these are some of the examples for the elif statement. So here, elif again marks you are giving as input. If marks are greater than 85 and marks are less than or equal to 100, you are saying it as a score grade A. Elif marks are greater than 60 and marks are less than or equal to 85, you are saying it as a B plus grade. Already I told you. So for example, if I enter the marks as 65, what I can get as output mark? If I enter the marks as 65, here a marks equal to, if I enter 65, what grade I can obtain? Can you tell me? Those who want to answer, just unmute your mic. Tell me the answer. Okay, marks 65 is given. So check for the condition. If marks 65 is greater than 85, no. Condition failed. That means it doesn't enter into this if block. Then it comes for the next condition checking. So marks is 65 is greater than 60. True. And we are having and. That means you need to check for the second condition also. Marks are less than or equal to 85. 65 is less than or equal to 85. True. So if both the conditions are true, then it enters inside of this. That means here this entire expression is evaluated to true. If it is evaluated to true, it enters inside of this block. So what you are having here, you scored a grade B+. Okay, this will be the output.
Ma'am, I think the screen got stuck, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
The screen got stuck, ma'am. The screen is not moving.
What about others, ma'am? Here I'm having
Yes, ma'am.
proper and
Same, ma'am.
Same. The slide is on 26.
can't you see nested if now?
Yes, ma'am.
No, ma'am. Now we are on 26th slide.
What you can see there on nested if only.
Python.
Yes, ma'am. Please respond, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, right. Is it moving now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Now it's okay.
Can you see nested if now?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Can't see.
No, ma'am.
Yeah.
It's on slide 23, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Yes.
Now
Now
okay,
we
ma'am.
can see. Ma'am. Now we can see.
Right. Now it's moving now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Right.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Mute your mics, ma'am. The ellipse statement we discussed here, we can provide multiple conditions. So based on the given condition, we can execute that associated set of statements. Then we discussed about the nested if statement. In the nested if statement, if the given condition is true, it executes inside of this if. So based on this outer condition, again, we can provide one more condition inside of the if. If statement inside of another if statement is called as nested if statement. So this statement also we completed in the class, right? Then we'll discuss about the looping statements, the basic loop structures or iterative statements. The loop structures or iterative statements can be used to repeat the task for the specified number of times. Okay, we can repeat the task for the specified number of times. That means here in the looping statements, we should concentrate on 3 points. Already I discussed those points. Can anybody tell me? Regarding the loop, so we need to remember 3 points. What are those? No idea? So, okay. Basically, why we use loop structures or iterative
Repeating
statements?
the code.
To repeat the code.
Repeat
Yes.
the code.
Yes.
Repeat the code, ma'am.
Okay, good. So looping statements can be used to repeat the code or to repeat a task for the specified number of times. So regarding the looping statements, we should have to concentrate on 3 points. What are those points? The first point is we need to have a looping variable. Why? Because we need to keep track of the number of iterations, how many times you have repeated the task. For example, if I consider a variable like a counter or counter, when count is equal to 1, then I am going to perform my task for the first time. So when count is equal to 2, then you are going to perform the task for the second time. So like that, I want to repeat the task for the 10 number of times. Then what I should do? Whenever count is equal to 10, I can perform the task. Whenever count becomes 11, then automatically I should have to stop it. Why? Because I don't want to perform my task infinite number of times. Somewhere else I want to stop it. Yes, ma'am? I cannot go infinite number of times. So we should have to include a stopping condition for the repetition operation. For example, I want to print the numbers starting from 1 to 100. Okay, whenever that some looping variable I is equal to 1, I can print 1. When I is equal to 2, I can print 2. Whenever I is equal to 3, then I can print 3. So and so on. I can go for doing this task up to when I reach to 100, I can stop it. After printing that 100, I can stop it whenever that I reach to 101. That means you should have to include a stopping condition, proper stopping condition to stop your repetition operation. Otherwise, we may enter into the infinite loop. That means your task may be repeated infinite number of times. So we should have to avoid that. The next point is increment or decrement of the looping variable. Increment or decrementation of the looping variable. So here I want to perform the task for 10 times means what you are doing. I is equal to 1. You are doing the task for the first time. When I is equal to 2, that means how you got that 2? So that counter variable or I variable, you are incrementing. I is equal to I plus 1. Then I is equal to 2. This means you are going to perform the task for the second time. Then after performing the second time, then you are making this I is equal to I plus 1, I is equal to 3. That means you are making the task for the third time. So and so on. I is equal to 10, I is equal to 10. That means this is the final stage. So when I is equal to 10, I can perform the task and I can stop my repetition operation. Why? Because I want to repeat my task only 10 times. That means you should have a looping variable and that looping variable must be initialized to some value. First point, it's very important. We should have a looping variable and that must be initialized to some value. And the second point is we should have to include a proper termination condition for repetition operation. We should have to include a stopping condition for stop your repetition operation. And third point is incrementation or decrementation of the looping variable. These are the 3 points we should have to keep in mind while discussing regarding the loops. Now you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Right. So here, can you see this mouse pointer now? So here, basically, this is the loop structure. Can you see the mouse pointer, which is moving?
Ma'am, screen share struck again, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Loops, basic loop structures only you can see, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Right, that is only the slider. I didn't
Yes,
change
ma'am.
that. Right. So here, loop body. So here you can specify the condition. If the condition, this is like a termination condition or stopping condition. If this condition is true, it repeats the body of the loop. That means for the second time, it performs the task. After performing that, again, it takes the incrementation or decrementation of the looping variable. So it is part of your loop body. Then once more, it checks for the condition. After each updation of the looping variable, it checks for the condition. If the condition is true, then only it repeats the execution of the body of the loop. Otherwise, it comes out of the loop. So advantages of having loops. Now slide has changed, ma? Advantages
No,
of
ma'am.
loops.
No, ma'am.
Now you can see, right?
No, ma'am.
Advantages.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yeah, right. Advantages of loops. It provides a code reusability. The loops provides the code reusability. How it provides reusability means generally, if I want to print IRE 10 times, if you don't know the loops concepts, what you do, ma? IRE, I want to print 10 times. Print IRE, print IRE, print IRE, print IRE. Like that, you need to write 10 print statements, right? Now, whenever you use a looping statements, if you keep that statement, whatever you want to repeat, print statement only I want to repeat, print IRE. If you keep that statement inside of a loop, then automatically that part of the code, whatever you have included in the loop, will be repeated for the specified number of times. It can be 10 times or it can be 100 times also. So that means you are avoiding the repetition of the code. So you are reusing the code, whatever is there. For the first time it executes print IRU. Whenever you are keeping that code again, second time also it takes the same code. No need to write it again, print IRU. So it provides you the code reusability. The next one is using loops. We do not need to write the same code again and again, the same thing. So here we are not at all writing the same code again and again for repetition purpose. Only once it is enough to write the code. So whatever the task or whatever the code you want to repeat, that simply you need to keep inside of the loop. The next one is using loops. We can traverse over the elements of data structure like arrays or linked list. So if you consider the list, already I told you in the first unit data types. What is a list, ma? A list is a collection of elements, right? A list is collection of elements. There you can have the collection or multiple elements. So in the collection of elements, I want to visit each and every element, or else I want to print the elements one by one. In that case, I can use these loops. So the loops can also be basically used for traversing, means visiting. So we to traverse the elements of the data structure. Data structure means there you can consider a list or a set or a dictionary. So for traversing through the elements of a data structure also, we can use looping statements. These are the advantages of the looping statements. First one is code reusability. Next one is it avoids the repetition of the code. And the next one is for traversing the data structure elements. Here Python provides two types of looping statements. So one is for loop and another one is while loop. So for loop, the for loop is used in the case where we need to execute some part of the code until the given condition is satisfied. So already I told you regarding the loops, we need to have a condition. So until that condition is satisfied, it repeats the code, whatever you write inside of the loop block. The for loop is also called as pre-tested loop. Why? Because here when before entering into the loop body, it checks for the condition each and every time. So if the condition is true, then only it enters into the body of the loop, then only it executes. It is better to use for loop if the number of iterations is known in advance. That means for the 10 times I want to repeat the task, or for example 12 times I want to repeat this task. In that cases I can use this for loop. So basically for loop is also for repetition. Please remember that point. The next one is while loop. While is also another statement which can be used for repetition purpose. The while loop is to be used in this scenario where we don't know the number of iterations in advance. That means, for example, if you consider a file, so in that we don't know how much of data is available. But the task must be repeated. I want to read that entire file. But I don't know where to stop. At the ending, whenever I reach to the ending of the file, there only I want to stop. Until that, I want to read character by character all the data, whatever available in that file. So here we don't know the ending point. The number of iterations we don't know. In that case, we can use a while loop. So that's why if we don't know the number of iterations in advance, that means how many times you want to repeat the task. If you don't know that number exactly, then we can go for the loop statement, while loop. The block of statement is executed in the while loop until the condition specified in the while loop is satisfied. The same for loop and a while loop. Even it may be any kind of loop, until the condition is satisfied, it executes the body of the loop. It is also called as a pre-tested loop. That means firstly the condition is checked. If the condition is true, then only it enters into the body of the loop. So now here on the whole, what you need to remember from this slide is Python supports two types of looping statements. One is for loop and another one is while loop. For loop is also called as pre-tested loop, And if you know the number of iterations in advance, you can use this for loop. While loop is also used for repetition purpose, and it is also called as pre-tested loop. And if the number of iterations are not known in advance, in that cases also you can use while loop. If the number of iterations are known or unknown, in that cases also you can use while loop in both the cases. Let us go for the while loop now. So Python while loop allows us to execute a part of the code until the given condition returns false. It is also known as a pre-tested loop. So the basic point here is Python while loop is used for repeating the task or repeating the code for the specified number of times. So here regarding the loops and conditional statements, we need to remember the syntaxes and the execution procedure. While, WHILE, all are lowercase letters. Please remember, all are lowercase letters. While, give a space, then write the expression. Expression means here the condition where you want to stop your repetition operation. That condition you need to write here. While, space, that repetition is the condition. Then give a tab space here. Give a tab space. Then write your statements, whatever you want to repeat. So this is the syntax for using your while loop. Please note down the syntax, ma. While, expression, that means condition, colon, give a tab space, statements. So here before entering into this while loop, it checks for this expression. If this expression is evaluated to true, then only it enters into this body of the loop. So let me explain with an example now. Then you understand it clearly. So here is the flow chart for the while loop. So here we can write the condition. If this given condition is true, then only it executes the body of the loop. That means whatever the statements are there inside of the loop, those are called as loop body. So if condition is evaluated to true, then it enters into the body of the loop. That means it executes all the statements inside of the loop. After execution of this loop body, then once more it will check for the condition for the next repetition operation. So if it is true, again it repeats the execution of the body of the loop. For example, here this condition is failed, then automatically control comes out of the loop. It doesn't enter into the loop body. Directly control comes out of the loop body. This is the execution procedure. By seeing this flow chart, we can easily understand how this while loop can be executed. Here we need to mention the condition first in the while. So if the condition is evaluated to true, it enters into the body of the loop. So body of the loop means whatever the statements you want to repeat, those statements you need to write inside of the while statement. So this will be repeated. After execution of this, again it will go for the condition checking before repeating the second time. So like this, it repeats the task until this condition is failed. So once this condition is failed, it comes out of the loop body. Now here is an example. Here I want to print hello message 3 times. Here what is my aim? I want to print hello message 3 times. So here is the program for that by using a while loop. So we need a looping variable. Already I told you regarding the loops, we need a looping variable while loop. So here the looping variable is counter. So which keeps track of the number of repetitions or iterations you can call. Looping variable keeps track of the number of iterations. So here count is equal to 0. Initialize your looping variable to some value. Already I told you. So this is my looping variable. Count is looping variable and I have initialized it to 0. Then what is my intention now? I want to print hello 3 times. So whenever count is equal to 0, I'm going to perform the task for the first time. Whenever count is equal to 1, I'm doing my task for the second time. Whenever count equal to 2, I'm performing my task for the third time. Whenever count is equal to 3, you are going to perform your task for the 4th time. Just I don't want to perform this task 4th time. That's why what should be the condition here? What should be the condition? While count is less than 3. You can use these braces or else you may omit these braces now. While count is less than 3. Then what you want to do? Just you are incrementing the count variable, that is count is equal to 1. Print hello. So let me consider the example now. Count is equal to 0. Yes, let me use this annotate. Right. So here count is equal to 0. For the first time, count is equal to 0. Check for the condition. While count is less than 3, true or false, ma? True or false? Count is less than 3. 0 is less than 3. So 0 is less than 3 means here it is true. If it is true, it enters into the body of the loop. Body of the loop means here we are using a tab space if you observe. That means these are the statements what we can find inside of the loop. So here count is equal to count plus 1. What is previous count value? 0. 0 plus 1 is 1. Now count is equal to, what is the count value now? What is the count value now? 1. So what is the next statement inside of the loop? Hello. Just you can print the hello for the first time. Over. Then after this, there are no more statements inside of the loop. Then it will go for the repetition operation. That means it will check for the condition. It will check for the condition. What is the condition here? Count is less than 3. True or false? What is count value now? Count value is 1. 1 is less than 3. True or false?
True.
True. If it is true, it enters into the body of the loop again. Count is equal to count plus 1. Now the count value is 2.
2.
Count value is 2. And print hello. The second time hello is printed. Now, after printing this again, one more time, it will check for the condition. It will go for the first line while I is less than 3. What is I value? 2. 2 is less than 3. Condition is true. If condition is true, again it enters into the body of the loop. Now count is equal to count plus 1. That is 3. Now print hello. Hello is printed. The third time hello printed. Okay, after printing this, again we'll check for the condition. What is the condition here? Count is less than 3. What is count value we are having? What is the count value you are having? 3. 3 is less than 3. 3 is less than 3.
No.
No. Condition failed. If condition failed, it terminates the loop. It comes out of the loop. So it comes out of the loop. Control comes here. Control comes out of the loop like this. Control comes out of the loop. There are no more statements to execute. So program terminates and you can see the output has hello, hello, hello 3 times. Is it clear, ma?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes,
Let me
ma'am.
go for another example. Time up, ma.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we'll discuss the remaining examples in the next class, ma. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.